Well, thank you all again for joining. My name is Sarah Lempersky. I am one of our admission officers here at Columbia Business School. I'm joined by my colleague Natasha from the School of Engineering and Admissions, and then our two program directors, Harry West from Engineering and Daniel Guetta from the Business School. And my colleague Aviana is also here managing Q&A. If you have any questions along the way, you're welcome to utilize the Q&A box and we can answer some as we go along. We also will save time at the end for Q&A too. But I will have us kick it off with Harry talking a little bit more about the MBA XMS program.
Hello, just to make sure, can folks hear me well? Excellent, thank you very much. So, welcome. So the MBA, we call it the MBA XMS program. It's both an MBA plus a Master of Science in Engineering. And it's designed for people who are potential future leaders as entrepreneurs or business leaders in a technology role in a larger corporation. We recognize there's a growing need for business leaders with technical skills. Our world today is highly technology oriented, and there's an opportunity for people who can integrate both business skills and technology skills. So we have integrated an offering with 2 degrees from 2 top-ranked schools in business and engineering, and you can get both degrees in 2 years. So it's from the point of view of opportunity cost, it's a great offer. We have extraordinary faculty, Daniel and myself, and a whole bunch of other folks who are part of this program. Really, the program's been running for 1 year. Sorry, this is the first year of the program. And in this first year, we have extraordinary students. I have been so impressed with the students. I don't know about you, Daniel, but the students in the classes that I'm teaching are extremely engaged. They bring a lot to the discussion based on their personal experience. And so it really is a dynamic and diverse community of students. We share with our students the resources of Columbia for both academic resources and career support. And our goal is to make sure that whichever path you take, entrepreneurship or enterprise, that as you graduate, you are well on your way to success. And of course, we're in New York City, which is, as everybody in New York knows, the center of the universe.
Great, thank you. We're going to transition to talking a little bit about the world-class knowledge here at both schools, the faculty and the curriculum. Just want to start out by talking a little bit about our deans. So this program was born as an idea from both of our deans. They saw the need and the tremendous niche market for this program and doing the intersection of business and engineering. And both as leaders in the industry, they recognized the growth for this, and they came together with faculty and staff to create this program. So this is Dean Chang from the School of Engineering and Dean McGlaris from the Columbia Business School, and both are very involved in the program and the growth of this program as well. But I will turn it over well, these are our program directors who are here with us. So Harry and Daniel again.
Okay.
But turn it over to you guys to talk a little bit about maybe your experience and then our faculty as well in the program.
So it's me again. Harry West, I'm faculty director. I'm professor of practice in the School of Engineering in both mechanical engineering and IEOR. And my background actually a long time ago was as an academic at MIT. But I fell in love with design and became a practicing designer, and then ended up running some quite large global design firms. And when we sold the last company, I had an opportunity. I was recruited by the dean to come back into academia and to set up a design and innovation capability here at Columbia. And it's been a great experience working here for the last few years. Daniel.
Wonderful. I'm Daniel Guetta, the program director on the business school side. I actually began my career, or my educational career, I suppose, as a physicist. Then I did a PhD at Columbia Business School. So I was a student at Columbia and then left. And I ended up working in a big data consulting company called Palantir Technologies. And one story that I think I always like to tell, which really makes me resonate with this program in particular, is that I had real trouble getting my first job, and not trouble because people didn't like me, at least I hope. Trouble because they didn't know where to put me. I had both an engineering skill set, I had a coding skill set, but I also had a skill set I gained at a business school of being able to sort of think more strategically, to talk to people. Not that engineers can't, but generally that's something you learn sort of more directly in a business school. And I think this program, to me, and certainly I think the first cohort that we've seen has really validated this, is really a place for people like that, who have this multifaceted set of skills to thrive and to deepen those skills and to learn how one set of skills can actually help the other. And so I was privileged to be asked to come back to Columbia around, I think, 6 years ago now. And I've been teaching a lot of our analytics classes both at the business school and in the engineering school. And very grateful to be part of this exciting program.
Great. Do you want to talk a bit maybe more about some of the faculty in the program?
So we also have an extraordinary group of faculty who are part of the program. And from the engineering, I can talk about the engineering side first. From the engineering side, there's a core program, and I teach that along with Hugh Thomas, Yev. But we also have electives, which are an important part of the offering, which are taught by faculty from across the university. So you would have access to all of the faculty at Columbia Business School. And I just highlighted, a few faculty who are actively engaged in the program right now. So Guru Iyengar is, he's also in the dean's office, but his day job, so to speak, is professor of industrial engineering and operations research, and he's expert on AI and deep learning. And in particular, he's interested in how to show the reason behind what has been learned. Lydia Chilton in computer science is expert on automated systems for generating user experiences online. And Lydia and I work closely together on a number of programs, including with Amazon, working on Amazon Alexa. And then Sam Sear, who's professor in biomedical engineering, is an expert on microfluidics and diagnostic devices. He has launched several companies himself as a faculty member. He launched the Harlem Biolab along with the mayor's office. And he was also the associate provost at Columbia for the Fourth Purpose, which is how Columbia is looking to extend its influence into affecting change in a considered way in our society. I just mentioned 3 of these faculty, but we have about 200 faculty who would be engaged potentially in some way or another in this program.
Yeah, and I'll talk about some of the business school faculty. Before I do, Harry, I don't know if you know, but Guru Iyengar was one of my PhD advisors. So very much echo. Absolutely, very much echo everything you said about him. Really truly fantastic set of faculty. On the business school side, we also have truly exceptional leaders in their fields that you will get to interact with during the program. I just picked 3 out for this slide just to give you an idea. On the right, we have Jorge Guzman, who was incredibly involved in the startup ecosystem before he joined Columbia Business School, and his real specialty is entrepreneurship, studying it both from a practical level and trying to figure out broader questions that we might want to answer about the entrepreneurial world. Then we have Sheena Iyengar in the middle over here, professor on a management division. She has done incredibly important, incredibly seminal, incredibly famous work on choice. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this study where if you go into a supermarket and you only get 3 jams to taste, you end up happier with your final choice than if you go into a supermarket and get 20 jams to taste, because the more choice you have, the less happy you end up with your final choice. That was her. That was Sheena Iyengar, to give you an idea of the kind of research she's come up with. And then we have Dan Wang over here, one of our most popular professor in our management division. Dan thinks at a very high level about strategy. He has this fantastic class called Technology Strategy, where he tries to figure out how should tech companies think of strategy in this new connected world. I always love to talk with Dan because, I'm an engineer at heart. When I think of all these new deep learning models, ChatGPT, which of course you'll interact with if you join us at Columbia, I think of them in a more technical sense. When I sit down and grab coffee with Dan, he sort of almost gives me a portal into what the world would be like 10 or 20 years from now. He really thinks about how these technologies are going to disrupt our world, disrupt our workplace, and how companies need to adapt. So this is really the kind of faculty that, we have the privilege to work with here at CBS, all of whom you'll get a chance to work with and be exposed to, either as part of your core curriculum work at CBS or as part of your electives, which we'll talk a little bit more about on the upcoming slides.
Chat about it now. So if you guys want to talk a little about the curriculum.
I'll start off then with with the engineering part of the curriculum. So the way we have structured the program this year, and it will continue to evolve, is in your first semester, the primary focus is on some sort of engineering foundations. The students who join this program typically come from a broad range of engineering and STEM backgrounds. And so we want to kind of level set and also to get everybody to take a moment to rethink about how they want to focus for their next 2 years. So to do that, we have an introductory program into human-centered design, which is just a kind of reminder for how it is that you create or design a new product or service, or innovate a new product or service that another human being is going to care about. Because ultimately, whether as an entrepreneurial leader or as a business leader, ultimately, we all have to get our customers to care about what we're doing so that they buy, so that the business model will work. That's followed quickly by an introduction to UI, UX for connected systems. We're teaching you how to build a digital system, basically. So it's level setting for everybody. In addition, I'm just going to jump to the fundamental design tools class. We're also, no matter what your background, everybody's going to learn how to design a part using a CAD program such as SolidWorks. Everybody is going to learn how to program a microprocessor in a simple way. Everybody's going to learn how to use an AI to learn to instruct the microprocessor on what to do. Everybody is going to participate in some sort of foundational design tools exercises, so that, not that you're an expert, but so that you feel that you could do that if you wanted to. And now I'm going to jump to the Frontiers of Tough Tech class, which is the class I'm teaching this semester. And here we want to expose you to two things. Well, three basic threads in the class. We want to expose you to the most important problems of our time, including climate change, inequity, truth. These are fundamental issues that are challenging our society. And they're also great business opportunities, because one way or the other, we're going to have to take these problems on and solve them. And as the richest man in the world has demonstrated, by solving an important problem, you can be richly rewarded. So we want to share with you and discuss the fundamental reason why these are difficult and important problems for our society. Secondly, we want to expose you to some of the key technologies, the deep technologies that will be important to solving these problems. So we're looking at robotics and AI. We're looking at blockchain. We're looking at diagnostic tools, etc. So a broad range of technologies, each of which is being taught by perhaps the world's expert in that technology. So you get a glimpse into that world, and you may choose to pursue that glimpse in your second year, in your electives. So that's the first semester from the engineering side. Daniel.
Yep. So in the first semester, you'll be doing 2 business school classes in addition to those engineering classes. First one is Foundations of Entrepreneurship, so a kind of introduction to entrepreneurship from sort of one of our faculty here at CBS. And then Statistics and Business Analytics, which you'll do with me. And that is the only part of the MBA core, so the required classes that all MBA students take. That is the only core MBA classes you will not be taking with the rest of the MBA program. You'll be taking it with me separately. And the reason for that is when we have entrants into the MBA program, they typically don't have a very strong engineering background. They don't have a strong mathematical background. And so we need to spend much longer to teach them about some introductory topics, which many of you will already know about. And so we still teach them to you things like linear regression, things like the basics of statistics, but we do it in Python. We do it assuming you know the math. We go a little more in depth. We look at applications by reading case studies. And so this is effectively going to be the MBA core, but reimagined just for you for those 2 classes, Statistics and Business Analytics. And we go all the way from the basics of learning the basics of stats, all the way to discussing case studies about how companies use AI to drive value. And so it's a really sort of fabulous class that I really enjoy teaching both to the full-time MBA program and to our MBA XMS cohort. I'm going to move on to the spring next. Spring semester is going to be your big MBA business school semester, and that's when you'll take the bulk of the business school core. And that includes the following classes. By the way, there are a lot of classes in the spring. That's not because it's going to be extra packed. It's because some of these classes only last half a semester. So some of these classes you only do half a semester, and then the second half you do another class. That's why there's usually so many on that on that semester. So we start with Lead People, Teams, Organizations, a class about leadership, helping you grow into the leader that you'd like to be. Strategy formulation, all about strategy. How do you define, think about, innovate when it comes to your company's strategy? Managerial economics and global economic environment. These are the microeconomic and macroeconomic classes. They're sort of the foundations that they lay that all MBA should really know about when it comes to the way our world and our economy works. Then we have marketing, basics of marketing. Financial accounting, learn how to read a balance sheet, learn how to read financial statements. Foundations of valuation, all about valuing companies and financial assets. Corporate finance, and operations management, which is all about how companies make things better. How do we change processes? How do we use analytics? Or how do we even use other techniques to take processes companies engage in every day and make them better? And then finally, you have 1 engineering classes in the spring semester, and that is analytics in Python. You'll, of course, have already done a little bit of Python in the fall semester. Many of these classes will require it, but it'll just be piecemeal. In the spring, you'll really sort of dive deep and learn how to use the world's most popular programming language, Python, to really analyze data and drive values wherever you are. I don't know, Harry, if you want to say a little more about that class, or did I cover it?
Nope, you covered it. Thanks.
All right. I think that's my slide, right, Harry?
Yes.
Perfect. Good. So let me tell you about your summer semester. This is a really, really nice aspect, a wonderful aspect of this program, where in the summer you get to pick 1 of 2 tracks you want to be on. On the one hand, you can choose the entrepreneurship concentration. If you're in this program because you want to create your own company, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to join an early stage company, you will follow sort of this track. That is a track in which you're going to be working on your own startup in the summer with funding and support provided by the program. So that's sort of one choice you have in the first summer. And then the other option is to go for the enterprise concentration. Maybe entrepreneurship isn't for you. You want to use the skill you develop in this program to go work at a big company, to use your combined engineering and leadership skills at a large company. And so you get to take a paid internship with a startup or an established technology company in that first summer. I should point out that all of the career services, both at Columbia Business School and at Columbia Engineering, will be available to you in that process of finding that internship in the first year. And indeed, all our resources will also be available to help you if you choose the entrepreneurship concentration. We will go to the next slide. Wonderful. And now comes the second year. The second year is much less scripted, right? There are no sort of required, there's no big bunch of required classes in the second year. You're going to do an MBA concentration. You're going to do an MS concentration. And we'll talk about those very briefly in the next few slides. And then you have to do at least one MBA innovation class, one MBA analytics class. Then you have a whole bunch of MBA free electives where you get to decide what MBA classes you want to take. And you, of course, have a MS capstone where you're going to apply everything you learned in one sort of big final class. Let's go to the next slide. Wonderful. And now comes the concentrations in the second year that I was just mentioning in the previous slide. So I'll cover the business concentrations and Harry will talk about the engineering concentrations. On the business side, you get the choice of two concentrations. Either you pick the entrepreneurship concentration. This is, you spend the summer creating your own startup and now you really have decided entrepreneurship is what you want to do. Well, guess what? You get to spend your second year taking electives that are going to help you become better and more effective at whatever you want to do. And there's a whole bunch of electives in that area that you can pick at CBS. I mean, for example, we just have a few examples on the slides here. You have entrepreneurial strategy, entrepreneurial finance, launch your startup, entrepreneurial law for startups, and so on and so forth. On the other side, if you decide you want to follow the enterprise track, you have a whole bunch of classes there as well that are going to help you learn how to be as effective as possible in an enterprise environment. And there's, of course, some overlap between the two, but there you have some classes like product management, tech strategy, operations strategy, economics of organizational strategy, and so on and so forth. Again, if I had to list all the classes, we'd be here till 5 p.m. There are plenty of classes you can take on both sides of that concentration. Over to Harry for the next slide, I think.
So from the engineering side, we currently have 7 areas of concentration. Medical system design, AI and machine learning, software systems, robotics and smart machines, climate, energy and sustainability, supply chain, retail and service systems. And I can't read the bottom one, but it is whatever it is. There we go. Thank you. It's fine. And these are kind of loose clusters of areas that you might want to choose to focus. The reason I say it's loose is because I've just been checking through some of the questions on chat on Zoom. Is actually you have access to the entire graduate school offering in the School of Engineering. To the extent that you can convince Daniel and me that you have sufficient background to keep up in whichever classes that you take, we will approve your concentration. Okay. The reason we've shared this set is to kind of inspire you as to where you can go. I would highly recommend not committing to a concentration right at the start, but using your first year to explore more broadly, to figure out where you think there's the biggest opportunity for you and perhaps for society. And then talk with Daniel and me and other faculty, and we will advise you on an appropriate set of courses, a way to combine them in order to get the most out of that experience.
Great. Thank you both so much. Sorry here that the bottom was cut off. Just so everyone knows, the last one is advanced materials and nanotechnology. So,
of course.
Sorry, my bar's down here at the bottom, but we're going to transition and thank you both for your expertise and insight into the curriculum and faculty and all that you're going to have access with there. We're going to transition to talking a little bit next about some of the opportunities you'll have available to you through the program. We'll then go into the application process and then get some more time here for Q&A. But keep the questions coming. I do see some that will be answered along the way, though. So I'll turn over to Natasha to talk a little bit about the opportunities you'll have available by being in New York City.
Thank you so much. So, of course, New York City, I should be very clear. I'm a native New Yorker. I love New York. There is no city like it. But to be very clear, the history of Columbia University and, of course, Columbia Engineering and Columbia Business School is really tied to the history of New York, which is very much the seat of the capital of the world, if I do say so myself, being a magnet for global talent and really a nucleus of activity that has a major impact on the rest of the world in every major industry. So being a student of this program gives you access to both the Morningside and the Manhattanville campus. That Manhattanville campus is brand new. If you're familiar with the going-ons of Columbia University, you'll know that it's closer to 125th Street, a short walk away from the traditional Morningside campus that we all know and love. And so by being a student of this program, you'd have access to both. Fun fact about New York City, over 3,000 companies are headquartered here. So being part of this program means you have unique access and opportunities to the world's leaders in business, technology, data, analytics, and more. And Columbia specifically does offer extensive opportunities to network in-house with these companies, with these organizations, find mentors, work with alumni, speakers, attend events also of this across the two campuses and with both schools present. And of course, by being part of this program, you'll have the opportunity for internships that extend well beyond the summer, since New York City definitely provides a big foundation for you to be able to launch your path forward. And on this side, you'll see that we do have quite a number of distinguished speakers and conferences. So being part of New York City and taking a piece of that advantage is really that we can attract such distinguished speakers, executives, and conferences to our campus. And so we do have Robert Smith, who is an alum of the MBA program on this slide. We also have Sunita Williams, an astronaut, not the only astronaut that we welcome to our campus, I should point out. And so you do have the opportunities to network with these distinguished leaders, CEOs, founders of all sorts, and of course the conferences hosted by each school and the broader university, like the World Leaders Forum, all at your fingertips. And I should also stress that by being an alum of this program, you'd also have the opportunity to be on a slide like this one day.
Great. Thank you, Natasha. I'm going to just briefly go through some of the world-class resources you'll have available to you from both schools. Again, we would like to emphasize that you will have access to, just a plethora of resources from both teams. So just a few things here to kind of note. We were talking about that summer kind of internship and track. If you're doing the entrepreneurship, you'll have access to, it's not on the slide, but the Lang Center within the School of Business. You'll have access to the Career Management Center at the School of Business, where there are CMC coaches. You'll be assigned a career management kind of advisor at both schools. There's CMC fellows, which are second-year students, MBA students that can advise you as you kind of begin your MBA curriculum. There's the Columbia Build Lab and Columbia Startup Lab that are both resources housed through the Lang Center. And we have our executive in residence, which are C-suite level residents at CBS that offer advice and meet with students to kind of give you that perspective of from post MBA all the way up to the C-suite. So just a plethora of resources. Natasha, do you maybe want to just touch quickly on the graduate career placement team and the resources over at C's?
Of course. So Columbia Engineering has the graduate career placement team, meaning each and every department has its own dedicated career coach to help you with all of your questions, inquiries, and to provide a real insight into the industry that you're interested in, or maybe the focus you'd like in engineering as you pursue internships and, of course, full-time employment. And then the graduate career placement team works with our professional development and leadership courses. This is actually a requirement that's part of the engineering degree. It is not for credit, but there are soft skills as well as technical skills that you're able to work on and have at your fingertips as a student. So this is something that only the graduate students of Columbia Engineering have access to. So of course, by being part of this program, you'd have access to it as well. And it really allows us to work closely with employers and with students on what their needs are to make sure that we're meeting that at every step of the way.
Thank you. And just want to highlight, as you are thinking about which track you're interested in with this program, some successful entrepreneurs that have come through the program. We've had many, many successful alum that have either started their company while at Columbia or shortly after. Our students and alumni have founded over 700 venture-backed startups. We've had 20 plus unicorns. So again, just want to emphasize the Lang Center is kind of the hub for these resources, but you will definitely, if you are someone with the entrepreneurial spirit, have a lot of access to, the resources that these entrepreneurs had as well. And for those of you that are maybe more interested on the enterprise route, you have access to a lot of the top companies across not only New York City, but across the globe. We are seeing a demand from these employers that there's a need for the intersection of business and engineering. So This just gives you a sense of where some of the students go from both schools post-graduation, or again, if you're looking for that enterprise internship, some opportunities that would be available to you. They may come to campus for recruiting, or you could, work with them for interviews and internships as well. So just a quick glimpse into some of the opportunities you'd have and for anyone in the program. And Natasha, do you want to talk a little about the alumni network?
Sure. This is a really elite worldwide club that you would have the opportunity to be a part of. Being able to be part of the 50,000 plus Columbia Business School alumni, and I should say the 45,000 plus Columbia Engineering alumni, it's really unmatched to the type of access and opportunities you would have being able to be part of both alumni pools. And so this is a person network that is available to you. And, depending on how you use it, can be tremendously powerful. We also, of course, have even more notable alums from both sides of the house who've gone on to be founders and CEOs. Can't, again, emphasize that enough. A lot of what our programs have done and our university have done is to really create a unique entrepreneurial ecosystem that's existed in some form for quite some time. So having so many alums that span different areas of business, technology, and engineering, as well as having them be great supporters of our program, really makes a difference in the student experience.
Great. We're going to transition into talking about the next steps. So I know there's been some questions about, application process and requirements. So I'm going to jump through that before we get to Q&A. So first, I want to talk a little about what we look for. So we take a holistic admissions approach to, our applicants. So there are about 3 buckets that we take into consideration when looking at our applicants. First is academic history. Some notes here in terms of requirements. We do not require an undergraduate STEM degree, but it is highly encouraged, and you do need to show, we will ask for some previous coursework that you've taken just to make sure that you're academically prepared for this program. It is a rigorous program, as you probably were hearing Daniel and Harry talk about a lot of those technical skills needed. So it is highly encouraged to have an undergraduate STEM degree or some STEM education. We do require a 2-year minimum work experience for this program as well. So that's something to take into note. And we require the GMAT or GRE. So we'll all assess that when it comes to your academic history. We then are going to assess your alignment with your professional goals. So these are just kind of the things that we might be looking for with our students. If you're someone that's interested in creating or joining a startup company, you're seeking an enhanced role in an established tech firm, or looking to expand opportunities as a technical product manager. Something to note is that we will ask in your essay, which is part of personal characteristics, but also personal goals, specifically why this program. We will also ask for a quick immediate post MBA XMS goal to know what you're looking to do immediately after you finish the program. And then lastly is personal characteristics. We want to get to know you a little bit as a person as well. So we will ask, it's not listed here, but we will ask about extracurricular activities that you've been involved in. We require 2 letters of recommendation, and that's a way for us to get to know you a little bit more, maybe outside of, academic or professional as well. And then again, the essay will really just be able to exemplify why this program and why this time and this intersection. And then if invited, there will be an interview, and that will be conducted by our staff. And so you will have the opportunity to tell us a little bit more about yourself and why you're interested in this program. So just to kind of reiterate these application requirements, you will need to fill out the online application. I just want to make it clear that there's one application to apply to this program, and it's a joint application housed on the CBS website. So you do not need to fill out 2 applications to each school. It's just one joint application. We'll need a copy of your resume. We require the 1 essay, your post MBA XMS goal, the 2 letters of recommendation. One should be coming from a professional recommender, and the other should be coming from an academic recommender. We require all transcripts, undergrad, and if you've had any grad coursework. And then, as I noted, GMAT or GRE scores. We do not have a preference between either of these. You're welcome to submit either or, and we will be accepting the new GMAT focus. I just want to note that. And then again, interviews by invitation, and then there's an application fee. So just to talk about deadlines. So hopefully some folks on this call are gearing up to submit those applications here in the next couple weeks. Our first deadline is October 4th, so just under 2 weeks away. Round 2 deadline is January 5th, and round 3 is April 3rd. We will be kind of mimicking for the similar process as our full-time MBAs. So what that means is that we will be reviewing applications in rounds. So all application material is due by 11:59 on the due date. So please note there's no grace period for submitting recommendations or for submitting your application fee. After applications have been sent in for each round, we will take time to review. We'll send out in-review invites about month and a half later, and then final decisions, as you will see, are expected by mid-December for round 1, late March for round 2, and early May for round 3. So if you have more questions about, application round, happy to discuss that, but it'll be in a round, not a rolling basis for application review. And lastly, I just want to briefly go over financial aid. I know that's always a big consideration for students when thinking about taking the next step in their education. So there's 3 kind of different areas that we offer financial aid in, and that students often combine at least 1 or 3 of these kind of options. So first are merit-based fellowships. These are starting from $20,000 and up, and they are renewable each year and can be combined. These are not awarded with your admission decision, but you will know shortly after, and you do not need to fill out any additional application to be considered for a merit-based. You just need to apply by round 2 in order to be eligible to be considered. Next is need-based scholarships. So this is a separate application process. It says after admission, but it most likely will be available to you to fill out this application once, if and when you're invited to interview. So that's a whole separate process that you'll need to go through if you're looking to get some additional need-based funding. These range from $10,000 to $30,000 a year and are renewable as well. And lastly, our loan options. So there's loans available up to full financial aid minus any other aid. We have federal options for domestic students, and then for our international students, we do have no cosigner international loan options that are available for up to 80% of the cost of attendance. And then some students will also use personal or family finances to be able to help support their time in the program. I did a good job summarizing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Well, that's about all the time we have. I know we weren't able to get to all of the questions today, so I just want to, provide our contact information. So feel free to follow both schools on social media. And then if you do have direct questions about application or anything to follow up, this is the best contact, the email and phone number at the top. It is the CBS admissions office. Again, you're welcome to reach out to anybody on either side, but admission related specific questions, you're welcome to send to us at CBS. Since we are the ones that house the application. But just want to thank everyone for their time. Thank you, Harry and Daniel and Natasha for being here, and Aviana for manning the Q&A. We'll end on our cute little slide. This is our first class that came in that has been here now for just about a month. So thank you all again for your interest, and we hope to start reviewing some applications soon. Thanks, everyone.